Good afternoon. Welcome to Unlocking Student Success. If you're just jumping on, find that chat box and share with us where you're joining from today and maybe some fun fact about today. So I'm joining from Louisiana today, so happy to be here. Let's see where everyone else is joining from today. So you'll want to find that chat box. It says chat. Open it, and then share with us where you're joining from today. Looks like we have about 10 or so people in the meeting so far. Looks like Janet's joining us from Michigan. Welcome. Meredith from Missouri. Chris from South Carolina. We have Connecticut. Michael from Wisconsin. Welcome. Martin from Iowa, welcome. Roger from Pennsylvania. Glad y'all are here today. We'll get started in about 4 minutes. I don't know about y'all, but here in southern Louisiana, it is starting to feel like spring. It is beautiful today, like mid 60s up low 70s and sunny. So we're ready for spring here in Louisiana. Oh, someone from Georgia, welcome. Michelle from Illinois, welcome. We have several more jumping on right now. If you're just joining us, find that chat box and just share with us where you're joining from today. We have a lot from the north side, Connecticut, Wisconsin, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Michigan. Glad y'all are all here. Make sure you know where that chat button is because we will use it later in the session. Allie from New York, welcome. Glad you're here. We'll get started in about 3 minutes. We still have some people jumping on. Like I said, if you just jumped on, share with us where you're joining from. We're glad you're going to spend the next 30 minutes with us to talk about unlocking student success with curriculum, instruction, assessment. So glad y'all are here with us today. Stevens from Texas, welcome. Glad you're here. We have a few more people jumping on to join us. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Make sure you have a smartphone handy. We'll be using that camera app to scan a few QR codes. Make sure you know where the chat feature is. We will use that at the end of the session. Billy joining us from Tennessee, welcome. Glad you're here. We'll get started in about 1.5 minutes. Make sure you have a smartphone ready, something to scan a QR code with. There will also be links in the chat. We have a few more people joining right now. If you've been with us for a while, you know that we switched from GoToWebinar to Microsoft, the Teams webinar feature. And so sometimes it does pop up as unknown user and you have to enter your name because otherwise it will just leave you as unknown user. So thanks for learning with us on that curve as well. All right, one last chance. We have about 1 minute before we get started. If you're just jumping in, we're glad you're here. Share with us in that chat box where you're joining from. We'd love to see where everyone's joining from across the country. Make sure you know where that chat box is. Make sure you have a smartphone where you can scan some QR codes. There'll also be links in the chat, so get ready to be interactive. Looks like Leslie's joining us from Puerto Rico. Welcome, glad you're here. All right. And with that, Ken, also from Central Wisconsin, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, with that, it is 2 o'clock. So welcome to Unlocking Student Success, the Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment Trifecta. If you haven't joined us before with one of these webinars, you may notice that these are very fast, quick-paced, 30-minute webinars. We don't do a real big deep dive. It's just intended to introduce a concept and to get you thinking about some ideas that you can use immediately in your classroom or your learning environment or your shop or wherever you're working. These are also very interactive. So like I said, make sure you have a smartphone. You will be using QR codes to interact. These sessions rely on audience participation to be successful. So get ready to share your ideas because we all bring really great educational experiences to the table. And with that, let's get started. So first, let's define CIA, as I like to abbreviate it, curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So to do so, you're going to click on the QR code. I will also be putting a link in the chat momentarily. And when you get there, you're going to click on the plus signs and you're just going to add your definition for curriculum, instruction, or assessment. So I'll give you just a moment to scan that QR code with your smartphone. Under each heading, you're going to add your definition. The link is also in the chat if you prefer to use a laptop or computer to complete the exercise. We are using Padlet. Like I always say, make sure you check with your organizational's IT department to make sure you can use Padlet. It's open for use on your network, and you can use it with your students as well. So I am using the free version of Padlet because I love free ed tech tools. And let's see how y'all are starting to define CIA. All right, I'm going to slide this over from my other screen. So when you get here, hopefully you can click the plus sign and add your definition. We'll give it just a moment to see if some of these definitions are coming in. If for some reason there is a tech difficulty, if you'll just put that in chat, let me know so we can get it fixed ASAP. All right, so some of the ways that we define curriculum include a learning plan, what it is, the materials that we are used to instruct for learning, all the work the students are scheduled to do throughout the course, concepts and ideas that we teach, materials, reading, lab, instructional design and delivery, all of the above, absolutely. Goals, learning plans, instructions for our own, what it is we need to do, the organization of studies, learning from a book. These are all ways that we define curriculum. Now, how do we define instruction? How you teach, how you do it, doing what needs to be done, and how are we defining assessment? How you do, how do we know whether we got done what we needed to get done, how to decide if a student learned or was taught, and through the teaching. So as you can see, there are lots of different ways that we are defining curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And as I always say, there's probably some themes that you're starting to see in the definitions. So for example, under curriculum, some of the themes, I'm seeing materials, goals, and learning. All of those are under curriculum. Under instruction, it's like the delivery and content, how you teach again, how you do it. And under assessment, I'm seeing that some themes of like, what did we do? What did the students learn, right? The measure of learning, reviewing methods is another one, but you're picking up on some themes, right? So let's jump back to our slide deck. So first, welcome to our office hour webinar. My name is Mandy, and we are super glad that you're here with us. I have the really awesome job of working with the professional development, instructional design, training and our advocates program here at GW. So PD is one of my favorite things to do. So let's talk about curriculum. What is curriculum? We know that is kind of like the foundation of any educational program. And like we saw on our Padlet, it outlines the learning goals and expectations that we have for our students. It also kind of provides a roadmap for instruction. Most of the time, the curriculum really should define the content, the skills, the knowledge that we want our students to acquire to be successful. So that's a super brief overview of curriculum. All right, let's look at instruction. So instruction now is the process of delivering the curriculum to our students. And this could be a lot of things. It could be a variety of teaching methods or instructional strategies like lecture, group work, discussion, hands-on activities, labs, etc. What we do know is effective instruction really should be engaging and kind of meet the needs of all of our learners. Now, let's check out assessment. Now, this picture reminds me of the beginning of my career. Anybody remember those Scantrons? Oh my gosh, I know. And then if you'd run the Scantron through a machine and your students didn't do very well, it clicked a whole bunch of times, but like really loud. I know, bad memories. Okay, we've moved on from there from assessments, right? But when we think about assessments as a whole, it's really just a process of gathering information about our students and what they're learning, right? And so this information, we use it to inform instruction, to reteach, and to make decisions about student progress. And we know from research, there's really two main types of assessments that we look at, formative and summative. So formative is really just to monitor student learning on an ongoing basis, while summative is used to measure learning at the end of a unit, a course, some big chunk of time. Now, why do I call this the CIA trifecta? Because we know that when we have these three components put together, they form like a triangle. And this is essential for the triangle to stand, or these three sides. So you have to have each side to make the triangle stand. And each of these elements are key for student success. They all work together to support student learning. They ensure that students are meeting those learning goals that we have outlined from the curriculum. Okay, so do you have some sort of now idea and concept about what we're talking about for curriculum, instruction, and assessment? Okay, good. Now, like I said, these all have to, I don't know why this keeps popping on this slide. Sorry about that. These all have to align, right? Because we know the curriculum should guide the instruction should assess the curriculum. We have all three of these because alignment is key for success. So let's dive a little deeper into this alignment. So you're going to click on that QR code. It's going to take you to a tool called Mentimeter. I'm also working on putting that link in the chat right now for you. And when I get it there, you can click on the link in the chat. We're going to do some more of that defining. So the link is in the chat, QR code. We're going to open up Mentimeter. We're going to look at strategies for aligning curriculum, instruction, and assessments. So what are some strategies that you use to align curriculum, instruction, and assessment? So when I think about some strategies, there are some things I think about, right? Like we think about the backwards design. So we start with those desired learning outcomes and then develop instruction and assessments to meet the outcomes. When I think about the strategies I use to align CIA, I think of like formative assessments to really inform instructions, so I can regularly check on my students' understanding and adjust my instruction as needed. I also think of things like summative assessment, where I'm measuring student learning. So there are a number of strategies that we can use to ensure the alignment between CIA. Let's see some that you like to use in your teaching and instruction. So some strategies that y'all are using to align CIA are curriculum mapping. That seems to be a common one. Curriculum mapping, map outcomes to assess assignments, lab, etc. Align all three with the course objectives. That works. I see course mapping. What other strategies are you using to align curriculum, instruction, and assessment in your practice? We're seeing the curriculum based on subject matter instruction, PowerPoint, group discussion, align course objectives. Absolutely. Yeah, and those are some that I think of. Like I mentioned, I think of like backwards design, where you're looking at your desired outcomes, you're aligning assessments to those outcomes. I think of our assessments with formative and summative, using formative to guide daily instruction, using summative to check on measure learning. Absolutely. So it seems like we have a lot of commonalities in our work, which is a great byproduct of professional development. Because through this, we learn that we have a lot more in common. And so we see that we're using a lot of the same practices here with course mapping, curriculum mapping, curriculum based on the subject matters. Absolutely. All right, let's keep moving along. So now that we kind of defined curriculum assessment, instruction and assessment, and then we kind of looked at some strategies that you use in your class to make sure those are aligned. In the chat box, you're going to tell us in 6 words how you can use CIA Trifecta to impact learning in your class. So I'll give you just a moment to think. I will be quiet. And in that chat box, when you're ready, enter your 6-word phrase on how you can use curriculum instruction and assessment to impact learning. All right, we have a few coming in. So the 6 words. The full picture of student learning is one. Use pre-test and post-test. These may be some strategies as well. That works. When you're ready, you can share your 6-word summary in that chat box. Lab, quizzes, tests, discussions, interaction. Yep, that works. Let's see, discuss their own experiences with health issues. Great. Looks like that's tied directly to your content. Another 6-word summary is using fun activities and student engagement. That works. Let's see, we have another one, align the competencies to prepare students, right? Because we're trying to bring our curriculum instruction and assessment together in alignment. That's a good one. Give pre-test, pop quiz, and discussions. Those are good strategies as well. Absolutely. That will impact learning in your learning environment that you work with. I'll give you just about 30 seconds or so. Student to student, student to text, student to teacher interactions. There we go. That's very nice. Pace, align, teach, assess, reteach, reassess. Nice. Anybody have any thoughts on what you see in the chat box? Spark any new ideas for you? Did it reaffirm your own thoughts or beliefs about curriculum, instruction, assessment? Share this in the text box, the chat box as well. If you're seeing anything with the others that we're sharing, that align with your thoughts or sparked a new idea for you. We'd love to hear that as well. And one last chance to put into that chat box your 6-word summary or memoir about how you're going to use CIA to impact learning. Give you just a few more seconds to add anything to that chat. Yeah, so as you can see, we started out with that developing our own definition. So we shared our definitions of curriculum, instruction, and assessment. And then we pointed out some of the themes that we saw, the common words that we saw within all of our definitions that we shared collectively. Then we kind of looked a little bit about what research says about curriculum, instruction, and assessment, how they define it. Then we looked at those strategies, right? So how can we take what we know about curriculum, instruction, and assessment, and how can we start to implement it in our learning environments or our classrooms? And so we did that through the instructional design process, the backwards design. We're looking at class discussions. We're looking at different types of formative, summative assessments. We're looking at interactions, looking at different activities that keep our students engaged. And then we came here, that led us to here, where we created a 6-word summary, essentially, about how it's going to impact our learning directly. And that's what you can see in the chat. So hopefully through the chat, you can see things that align with your own thoughts and beliefs, things that made you think, maybe that's a different way to view that. So maybe it sparked a new idea or reaffirmed what you already think. So this activity is called 6-word memoir, and it's a very difficult memoir because it makes you be very concise and summary. It's a great strategy to use as a reflection strategy at the end of a lesson to see what stuck with your students or your learners, because it makes them be very concise. So this instructional strategy for this activity is called 6-word memoir. And let's keep going. We have a few more things. So recap for today. The ed tech tools that we used earlier were Padlet and Mentimeter. Just as a reminder, those were free versions that we use. As always, make sure they work on your network. Make sure you're able to use them with your students. They're great, easy, simple to use tools that can be used in class, so in person, or they can be used virtually or in a blended learning environment. So that's great. The big instructional strategy from today was the 6-word memoir. You could say that we did kind of like chalk talk and some other strategies at the beginning where you were sharing your ideas, collective, like group brainstorm. Those are some strategies that you could call what we did earlier as well. Now, here are some reminders before we wrap up. You should receive an email that has a link to the recording in 24 hours. If you do not, please let us know. We also know that for some reason, it has been really hard to share the certificate of attendance with you through this new platform on Microsoft Teams. We're not sure what's going on, but I did just drop a link to that attendance certificate of attendance form, whatever you want to call it, in the chat. I put it in a Google Drive folder, and so hopefully you're able to access it better that way. If you are, great. If not, let us know. We'll find a way to get it to you, even if we have to email it. Second, like I said, these are very quick, fast-paced webinars, and we love to make them better. So there is a QR code on the screen and a link in the chat. If you liked an activity, like the 6-word memoir, like Bob, thanks for letting us know that you liked that activity. Put that in our evaluation, because we want to make sure that we continue to use those activities that you're getting the most benefit from. And then also, so there's a QR code here for that. The link is also in the chat. The certificate of attendance is in the chat for you as well. Please let us know if you're able to access that, or if you're not, let us know so that we can make sure you get that. Then next week, we have one more of these coming up. and it is called Mastering the Journey, Equipping Learners with Self-Regulation and Powerful Study Skills. So this has been requested from many of our educators who work in the college and career market. And so this one may be tailored a little bit more to that college and career market. So feel free to share with your friends. We would love to see you again next week at this event. The registration link is in the chat box. The QR code is on the screen. And now that I've shared all that administrative stuff, if you have any questions about curriculum, instruction, assessment, now is a great time to put those in the chat so that we can answer questions for you as we wrap up. So let's check the chat box to see what questions we might have popping up about curriculum, instruction, and assessment. All right, I'm not seeing any pop up right now. So with that, we are going to say thanks so much for being with us today. We hope to see you again next Tuesday, March 19th at 2 p.m. Central Time for our Study Skills 1. And between now and then, have a great week, and then we will see you soon.